Focus, a weekly program about important issues and events in the two Virginias.
Good morning and welcome to this edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Melinda Zosh. This morning we are putting the spotlight on an author with roots here in West Virginia. Her name is Storm Young, and she's joining us in just a moment via Zoom from Georgia to share her insight on a book she's written called The Pen Pal. So Storm, before we get into the background of the book, can you share some background about yourself with our viewers? Where in West Virginia are you from?
I'm from Tyler County, West Virginia, and I lived there pretty much my whole life until my senior year. And that's when I moved to Wetzel County, and I lived in New Martinsville, and that's where the book actually takes place.
Well, that's really exciting as well, and I can't wait to hear more about your book. So the full title of it is The Pen Pal, a West Virginia Mystery. So share with our viewers, what is this book all about?
So The Pen Pal actually follows the story of Shiloh Ray. She's a military wife, a college student, and a new mother. She lives in Alaska, and she suffers from postpartum depression and all-around loneliness from living up there pretty much by herself since her husband's deployed. And she decides to reach out to a pen pal group on Facebook, and that's where she meets Penelope Young from New Martinsville, West Virginia. And over the months, they connect and they talk and they become the best of friends until one day the letters from Penelope just stop. And this drives Shiloh nuts, and she hates being alone once again because Penelope was her only friend in the world. So she decides that she's going to fly from Alaska to New Martinsville and see what happened to her missing friend.
Wow, that sounds like an exciting plot. And Storm, you're also a military wife. Is it fair to say that your own experiences inspired you to write this particular book?
Yes, I would say that my own experiences are a lot in Shiloh's life, and I put a lot of my struggles in as her struggles in the book because I wanted everybody to be able to relate if they've ever been in that kind of position.
And Storm, your book was released on Amazon. We actually have some images, but it was released on Amazon in November of last year. So when did you actually start the writing process for this book?
I actually started writing it in August of last year. I was putting in about 4 hours a day of writing. I just love this story so much, and I needed to get it out to the world as soon as possible.
Wow, it did not take you that long to finish it then. If you started it in August, it was finished in November. That did not take you long at all, working 4 hours a day. And the book is 178 pages long. That's not too bad. It shouldn't take readers too long to finish. So as far as the writing process was concerned, it didn't take you long to finish it, but did you have writer's block at all? Any stumbling stones along the way to get this finished?
There was actually a lot of parts where I just sat back and I was like, I don't know what to do with this scene or that scene. So I actually asked my grandma, I said, does this make sense? What do you think of this idea? And we bounced ideas back and forth until we came up with the perfect idea. And she helped me with a few different parts, but I think it was pretty much smooth sailing the whole time.
And so what inspired you to actually write this particular book? Was it something that was years in the making for this particular plot, or did it just hit you one day and you were like, wow, that would make a great book?
It actually hit me in a dream. One night, I think it was a Tuesday night, was just having a dream, and I woke up from it and I instantly started writing down key parts, and I said, this is the story that I have to tell. I love it, and I think the readers will too.
So share more about how your upbringing in West Virginia really helped you write this book.
So I lived in a very rural community for the longest time in Tyler County, and then whenever I ended up moving to New Martinsville, it was completely different for me. Of course, New Martinsville is not a big town, but it was a big town for me, and it was something that I wasn't used to. And people were outside all the time talking to their neighbors, and I was like, this is a beautiful community, and I feel like everybody should be able to experience it. And that's why I decided to put it as the main place in the book.
And Storm, how did you decide to have part of the book set in Alaska where your main character lives and then she meets the pen pal who lives in West Virginia? How did you decide Alaska for that part of the book?
I actually lived in Alaska with my husband for 3 years. And as I said, I put a lot of my own struggles in as Shiloh's struggles. And my husband ended up getting deployed to Japan for a while, and I was there by myself with my newborn. And I understand what that was like. And I also love Alaska, but I know how lonely it can get whenever you have nobody around. So I thought Alaska gave a perfect rural area to be able to explain that kind of loneliness.
Yeah, very cool that you've written about both Alaska and West Virginia. Your experiences as a military wife really played into your book. We have much more to talk about, though. We do have to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we are talking to West Virginia native and author Storm Young, and we're discussing her book. It's called The Pen Pal, a West Virginia Mystery. And by the way, it is available in paperback on Amazon for $15. So let's bring Storm back in. She's joining us via Zoom this morning from Georgia. And Storm, is this your first published book?
Yes, actually, it is my first published book. I'm very excited about it. So I was really glad that I was actually able to publish it. I had offers to get it published traditionally, but I decided I was going to self-publish it since it was my first one. I wanted to be able to prove that I could do it by myself.
Okay, interesting. Share with our viewers the process of self-publishing for those who are unfamiliar.
So whenever it comes to self-publishing, you have to do everything yourself. Whenever it comes to finding an editor, somebody to format the book, somebody to find the cover of the book, all of that is on you. And I decided that I was going to take on the process of doing it all by myself. Whenever you do it traditionally, they have somebody, you give them your manuscript and you're done. I decided that I was going to do it all by myself.
And why do you think that it was important for you to do all of this, your entire book from start to finish, by yourself?
I wanted to be able to inspire other people to be able to do it on their own if they ever wanted to. I know that there's not a lot of people that are authors that I know of in West Virginia, and I want to be able to inspire others to be able to do the same.
So Storm, is writing something that you've always had a passion for since you were a young girl, or did it develop over time?
I've always had a passion for writing. I just never had the story for it. In middle and high school, I always said that I was going to write a story or a comic book or something. I was going to get it published. And of course, it took me a while to get the story, but I finally did, and I'm very happy with it.
So who is your target demographic with this book? Are you targeting young women, a certain age group? Who are you targeting as far as your readers are concerned?
I feel like a lot of young women and new mothers will be able to relate to this book, but also I wanted to make sure anybody who was a mystery lover or from a small town would also be able to relate to this book as well.
And Storm, a lot of us can relate to the feeling of loneliness and isolation, especially since the pandemic hit America and the world 2 years ago. What do you hope that your readers take away from this book and from the main character, too?
I hope a lot of people understand that there's always going to be somebody out there to talk to if they need to talk with somebody, that they're never truly alone. And that is another reason why I decided to make the characters so far apart from each other. I wanted to show that even if they're halfway across the country, there is always going to be somebody there for you if you need it.
And Storm, share with us some more background on the characters in the book. There's the girl that lives in Alaska, and then there's the other individual who becomes the pen pal here in West Virginia. Share with us some more about each of those characters and what their personalities are like.
So Shiloh is 21 years old, and as I said, she's a college student and she's a go-getter. She's somebody who never backs down and will do whatever it takes for her family. And then, of course, Penelope, the one from New Martinsville, she's a business owner. She is very goal-oriented as well, and that is another reason why they connect so well. Penelope's also a mother of 2 children called Jim and Nancy. and I think they really grow their bond over motherhood as well.
And without giving too much away, how do these two women end up finding each other to become pen pals?
They actually found each other over a Facebook group. So in the very beginning, Shiloh decides that since she just can't take it anymore, she gets on Facebook and she sees an ad for a pen pal group. And so she fills out this big long form about herself and why she would really like to be pen pals with somebody. And she ends up getting matched through this Facebook group with Penelope.
And most good books have some kind of conflict in the book and a great plot. And it sounds like your book really does have those elements. So what inspired you to create this conflict in particular, where your character came out to West Virginia?
I decided that a missing persons story would be, of course, very interesting. I'm somebody who is currently studying law, and I love the idea of being able to write a mystery and write a little bit about what I know since I am studying it. And I felt like a lot of people enjoy those kind of true crime stories.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like a making for someone who's just looking for a great mystery, like you said, to pick up this book and read it. And also, viewers can find the book on Amazon for $15 for a paperback edition. So, Storm, where else can they purchase your book at?
Currently, it is only on Amazon. They can get it in the paperback version or the Kindle Unlimited version. So either one is amazing.
And do you have any social media sites where people can find out more about you as the author or the book? For example, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any social media or websites where viewers can find more information?
Yes, I actually have an Instagram, and it is @_StormYoung_. And then I have a Facebook page, which is Storm, author. And I'm always on there. I'm always posting. So if anybody reads this book and wants to talk about it, I'm there, and I would love to hear what they have to say.
Great. So you welcome questions. If anyone has a question about a certain part of the book, they can certainly message you.
Yes, they definitely can.
That's fantastic. What has been the most rewarding part of writing this book from start to finish and publishing it yourself? What's been the best part of it?
The best part is I've actually been able to have so many people reach out to me and say that they can relate to my characters. And that's what I was really aiming for, is a story that's relatable, because I feel like there's not a whole bunch of stories that people from small towns can relate to. And so since I am from one, I decided I wanted to be able to put that on the market for people.
Mm-hmm. And you said you're also a mother yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you hope that your child takes away from this one day when he or she is bigger and you're able to talk to them about it? What do you hope that they learn from this?
My daughter Ariel, I really hope that one day she can see that I put in all the work at a very young age, and I really hope that she sees that no matter what, you can do it yourself. And I hope that I inspire her to do the same. I'm only 22 years old, and I'm trying my best to make it in the world, and I hope that she can see that, and she can see all the work that I put in, and I hope I inspire her to do the same.
Oh, that's fantastic, Storm. And as she mentioned, she's young, only 22 years old, and hopefully you can play this message and this video back for your daughter to watch one day too.
I really hope I can, and I definitely will.
All right, we do have much more to talk about. We have one more quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everyone. This morning, we've been talking to author Storm Young about her book, The Pen Pal. She's been sharing some great insight on this work, and she said she worked 4 hours a day, got this book done from August, and it was published in November of 2021. Very impressive. Now, Storm, do you have any plans for a book tour? I'm sure some of our viewers are wondering, especially once they get a hold of your book and get to read it and they really enjoy it. Do you have any plans for a book tour, perhaps?
Currently, I don't have plans for a book tour. I would love to do one. I've reached out to different places, but of course, right now with COVID, it's just not possible. But of course, as I said, I am on social media, and I will answer any questions anybody has, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do that book tour.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope so too, especially like you said, once the situation with COVID is alleviated, hopefully you can go on tour. Let's remind our viewers again of where they can find you on social media if they are interested and they have some questions after they've read your book.
Of course, they can find me on Instagram at _StormYoung_ or on Facebook at StormYoung, author.
So Storm, what's next for you? Do you have plans for a sequel, or are you planning on maybe penning a different novel? What's next for your career as a writer?
Currently, I'm in the process of writing a different mystery. It is also based in West Virginia. It is in the works, and hopefully it will be done later this year. But there will be a sequel to this book as well, and I haven't started on it yet, but I do have a lot of ideas in the works.
Very cool. You'll have to keep us updated. Would you say that mysteries are your genre of choice, or do you see yourself going down a different path for other genres of books?
I definitely say mysteries are my genre of choice. I absolutely love them, and one day I hope to be one of the household names for mystery novels.
And what do you hope that readers learn from Shiloh's character and also Penelope's character? What do you hope that they learn from each of those distinct characters in your book?
I definitely hope readers take a lot away from Shiloh's character. I hope they understand that it's okay to be resilient and stand up for what they believe in. And of course, with Penelope, she is a business owner in a world where a lot of people didn't expect her to succeed, and I hope a lot of people can take away that they're able to do that. They're able to succeed and do exactly as she did, and she made a huge company out of nothing, and I hope that a lot of readers can relate to that and understand that shooting for your dreams is the biggest goal that you have, and of course they can do that as well.
Mm-hmm. And did anyone in your real life, like as far as like family members, friends, people you've met along the way, inspire you to create these characters?
I would say a lot of my characters, I hate to say it, but are actually a lot of me. I try to put a little pieces of myself. Of course, there are other characters that are inspired by other people, such as my grandmother. She always taught me that you have to be able to get up and go no matter what, and I try to put that in characters as well. And there's also a character based on my father and how it's okay to be silly and goofy during difficult situations. But as I said, a lot of my characters are my own personality.
Well, that's very cool. So let's talk more about also the importance of pen pal and making those connections. So you don't hear of that so much anymore. I mean, you hear people meeting each other online, but you don't hear as much of pen pals and forming that connection. Why do you think that's important, even if that person lives far away? Like in the case of Shiloh and Penelope, they live thousands of miles away in Alaska and in West Virginia.
I hit this topic a lot in my book, that even though we live in a world where technology takes over and people are constantly texting and calling, it's not the same as a connection through writing letters and paper. I feel like that's a lot more personal. Anybody can send a text message, hey, how are you? But I don't feel like it's the same as putting in all that time and effort and thought into a letter.
Yeah, definitely. There's just something different about picking up a letter and reading that and exchanging it, sort of like bygone eras from many, many decades ago. So, Storm, I know you touched a little bit on where you'd like to be as a writer, and you said that you're also studying law. Can you share with our viewers more about why you decided to pursue law?
I decided that I wanted to pursue law because one day I want to be able to make a big difference in the world. And I also decided to pick up on writing because I wanted people to be able to relate with that also.
And what advice would you have for a young writer, maybe someone who has an idea in their head, but they haven't exactly put that idea to pen and paper or typed up that idea yet? They have an idea, they're just not sure where to go with it. What advice would you give to a first-time writer, someone who's just starting out?
I would have to say, like, if you have the idea, you just keep writing it, you just keep going. Even if it just takes 10 minutes out of your day, just sit down and write. Even if you don't think that it sounds good right now, you can always go back and re-edit it. It's getting the words to the paper. That's the main point. And honestly, I want any future writers out there to understand that they can do it and they can finish that novel and it'll be a great success.
And what's the best advice you've gotten, whether it be related to your writing career or maybe in your personal life? What's the best advice that you've received that you've been able to implement into your life and into your work as a writer?
I would have to say the best advice is understanding that not everybody is going to like your work, but as long as you know that you did the best that you possibly could, then that's what truly matters. And if you want to be able to put yourself out there, you just keep going. And the worst anybody can tell you is no. If you ask, hey, can you publish my book through a publishing house? All they're going to tell you is no, you can move on. Ask somebody else. There's always going to be somebody out there who wants your work. You just have to find that right person.
Right, and in your case, you published the book yourself too, so sometimes that might be the best option, is to do the work yourself.
Yes, it definitely is. I felt like it was just a better option for me. I did get offers from a publishing house, but I just wanted to be able to have full control of my story, and I feel like a lot of writers can understand that as well.
Definitely. And I know you said like you didn't face too many challenges along the way writing, but do you have any advice as far as someone maybe who has had writer's block and they're kind of struggling? And maybe they're not a first-time writer, but they're just kind of struggling. They're just stuck somewhere. What advice would you give to that person who just seems to be struggling and they just need to get the words out, but they just can't right now?
I always say write what you know. I wrote my characters as what I've been through and what I know. Of course, not the whole story because it is a mystery novel, but I did put a lot of my own personalities in it. And I feel like if you can relate to your characters, other people can relate to them as well. And I feel like that's the best advice that I can give, because if you're able to relate to your own characters, it makes it a lot easier to write throughout the process.
Mm-hmm. And Storm, your book has been available on Amazon. It's been out since November of last year. What feedback have you gotten so far from those who have picked it up and who have read it and purchased your book?
I've had pretty much all positive feedback. I've had a lot of great reviews. It hit number 44 in new releases, and I think it was 98th in the bestsellers in its category on Amazon for a while.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And if you had to pick one part of your book, one chapter, one passage that you would say is your absolute favorite part, and I know it's probably hard because it's like your book is like your baby, right? But if you had to pick one part that you just you love or you loved writing over any of the rest of it, could you pick one part?
That's a really difficult question. As you said, this story is my baby. I love it so much. I would have to say the White Room is my favorite chapter. I am not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to give it away. But whenever I was writing that, it was just so emotional and I loved it so much. And I think a lot of people will like it once they get there.
Right, like you said, we can't give too much away right here. We're just kind of previewing the book, touching on it a little bit here and there. What would you attribute your success to? You're a young woman, you're 22 years old. Why would you say that you've been successful as a writer so far?
I would have to say that I'm successful because I've had the support of my family with me this whole time, telling me that I can do it, and also from everybody in the town of New Martinsville. A lot of them have picked up the book because it's from there, and I've had businesses from there also trying to help me out as much as possible. And of course, anybody that has picked up my book in general, I feel has contributed a whole bunch to my success.
Perfect. Yeah, that support system can go a long way. And Storm, we have just a few minutes left here, but what would you say is the #1 lesson that you've taken away from the writing process from start to finish getting this book done?
I would have to say my #1 lesson is understanding that I can actually do it. I can put in the work and I can do it all myself. And hopefully a lot of people will do the same, and I hope to inspire others to do so.
And what are one or two things you hope that readers and our viewers who are watching today take away from your book?
I hope that they understand that they're not alone in this world at all. There's always other people to make connections with. And I really hope that a lot of people actually end up picking up a pen pal and having that connection again.
Perfect. And we have just about 30 seconds left here, Storm. Any concluding thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and I hope everybody picks up a copy, and if they do, I hope they love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Storm. We'll definitely have to follow up with you when you write your other books as well.
Thank you so much.
And I do want to remind our viewers that they can purchase the Pen Pal on Amazon. That's available in paperback for $15. So if you go on Amazon, you can just search the Pen Pal West Virginia, and it should come right up in your search for you. It's $15. And I want to thank Storm again for sharing some more information about her journey as a writer and what's next for her and her career. We wish her the best of luck. Well, that does it for this edition of In Focus. The show is about people and events in the two Virginias. If you have an idea or something that you'd like us to focus on for an edition of In Focus, you can certainly send me an email. That's mzosh, M-Z-O-S-H, @WVVA.com. That does it for us today. We hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you right back here next Sunday.